Welcome to this edition of On Ye Spurs Tv. This one is going to be an epic one. We got the North London Derby. We have it at a time when both teams are riding high at the top of the league. There's a point between them and a couple of places in the league positions. But trust me, this is going to be an epic one. Join me in a few seconds while I introduce our guests who are going to be on tonight's show, or today's show rather. So I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side. Today we have a guest from the other side. This is different for us. We never had any guests on this program from the opposition, but we've chosen to go to the enemy camp this time around, and we brought Andy on. Andy, how are you?
Yeah, good morning. Very well.
Well done. Thank you for joining us. We have our regular co-host on tonight's on our regular podcast. We got Chuma. Chuma, welcome.
Good morning, Sergio.
For those of you who don't know this is On Ye Spurs TV, where we talk everything Spurs, and we're featuring today the North London Derby, and like the headline says, it is going to be super epic, and for many reasons, because if you think about it, no one expected Arsenal to be on top of the league at this stage. Okay, it's only 7 games, but it's early days. But hey, they're doing really well. They've lost 1 game. Even though some would say that maybe they didn't deserve to lose that game. And yeah, I mean, okay, that's probably the only, in quote, difficult games they faced so far in the season, However, Tottenham seem to be doing quite well as well. I mean, we're a point behind. Okay, we haven't been playing that great, but we've been getting the results. I think we had a bit of a glitch earlier on when we started recording the program, and we discovered that we hadn't actually started recording. But hey, that's technology for you. But yes, we're here. Andy, it's welcome. It's great to have you. We don't normally have entertain guests on the program, and to say that we start entertaining guests and we start with the enemy down the road. Welcome. How does it feel to be here?
I feel great. For those people who think we just played some soft games, let them go and try Crystal Palace in Selhurst Park. Let them try Fulham in Fulham, then they will know it's a different ball game this year. Those 2 teams are crack teams.
I know, right?
We're on our back throughout those games. We're on our back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, between you and I, there's really no easy game in the Premier League. I mean, no game should be taken for granted, and I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen all the games we've played so far this season. I mean, every game has been really, really tough. Even the games we've won by wide margins, we still experience a lot of I mean, the last match, okay, we won 6-2, but it didn't seem like a 6-2 game. It didn't seem like a 6-2 game at all. So I mean, it just tells you that, I mean, there's no easy game. Okay, even against Southampton, we won 4-1, but we went behind to begin with. Before we actually again got the goal. So it's not been easy start to the season at all. Chuma, North London Derby, Emirates 12:30 kickoff. I know these folks across the road, they love the 12:30 kickoffs. We don't.
It's the 12:30. It's the 12. As soon as I saw that game was 12:30, any Tottenham fan, as soon as you saw it was 12:30, you had a problem. He instantly had to set yourself up.
And you don't think it's a mental problem,
I don't know if it's mental. I don't know. I just think it's a preparation thing. I think some players have particular routines with personal lives and their families. So as soon as you throw it out, Spurs, I think they just enjoy playing 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or 8. And this 12:30 thing is a bit too for them. But being that it's a North London derby game, I think they'll be up for it, because they can't. They're playing for a manager that doesn't. For him, all this stuff like, oh, you guys used to do this, it doesn't figure into his plans. He doesn't he doesn't want to go with what Spurs have always done. All those things like the Jersey title and stuff like that. For Conte, it doesn't exist. He's out to win, and he's out to win whichever way he can. And so I think it will be interesting in that sense.
Now, Andy, I mean, okay, so no one expected Arsenal to be where they are now at the beginning of the season.
I expected them.
Well, I mean,
I'll tell you why.
And Andy, hold on one second. When I said no one, I didn't mean you. I mean, I meant the rest of the world. Okay. All right. Let me rephrase that and say, very, very few people expected Arsenal to be on top of the league, even at any point in time. I mean, not to say that they've been on top of the league for almost like the whole season so far, which is remarkable in itself. I mean, considering where they're coming from. Now, you said something along the lines of you expected them. Why?
Okay, the reason is, I remember 3 years ago, I was talking to my colleague in the office, who is a Chelsea fan. Chelsea, they always have these funds to fund their teams. We don't. Sorry, we don't. And I saw the rebuilding process. 3 years ago, we started with Tierney. Gradually, we started taking turns to change the team and adopting a philosophy. And of course, we are coming very, very close, very, very close. We need 2-2 per position, and we are getting there now. So I'm not surprised because we have quality players, very young players who can run, players who are hungry, unlike what we used to have before. So the result doesn't flatter me at all.
Agree. I agree.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think if we're fair, I think Arsenal have been playing some really nice stuff this season. Even though I try not to watch their games, but I mean, I'll try and watch them from behind.
No, it's for me as a Spurs fan watching. For me as a Spurs fan, well, half my family are Arsenal fans, so I have no choice but to be dragged in. But the thing about Arsenal that I always said it from the time I saw Arteta take over. I knew he was going to try to replicate Man City. But the problem was Arsenal at the time didn't have Man City type of players. And I said the minute this guy starts recruiting guys at similar level or caliber to Man City, he will be dangerous. So the question was if Arsenal would be patient enough to give him time to do that. And now with what they've seen by adding Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, you just saw everything in one move. And then bringing Saliba back. All they needed was a good defender. Their core is getting so strong, and it's the core that controls the match for him. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, these guys. Every week we say, oh, they're going to lose. I know they're not because they're controlling games. So it's very interesting team.
I hate to say this, but Arsenal are looking good. They're looking really, really good. So and we've got our work cut out, and we went before we came on here, we were talking about both teams' style of play and domination and counter-attacking football that we tend to play, and we have the seemingly capacity or seeming capability to absorb pressure and not concede very, very few and still launch effective counter-attacks, deadly counter-attacks. And I mean, okay, so we had a goal drought for Son, but he's come back in an epic fashion with a hat-trick last weekend, and it's looking really, really good in terms of what the match will play out like. Andy, I know you mentioned earlier on about you guys, your match against Man U and how you lost the match, and the fact that one of the reasons you felt that that happened was because they didn't manage effectively the ability to counterattack or deal with counterattacks, in which case, I mean, you guys seem to have dominated the match and ended up coming up away with nothing. What happened there?
Let me say something let me say something with Tottenham. With Tottenham, they have perfected counter-attacking to the extent that all those teams that control games, they look dangerous to those teams. Since last season, if you know what they did to Man City last year, and even to Liverpool, such that you just have to you have to adapt your game when playing Tottenham. Is a little bit of, we will have to go out of our normal traditional way of domination, possession. We will not be all out guns to say, yes, we want to kill Tottenham today. Because if we do that, it will be very dangerous for us. And for Tottenham, one thing they've gotten away with this season is, if you look at their total possession, and I think the coach will know much about that, because if you look at the stats, you see that they are, of their total possession, the last term is usually, I think they have one of the lowest of the top 16, which means they are very precise when they come to your goal area to hit you, because they don't have those many chances as the top 6 teams have to be able to hit teams. So that's why we have to be very, very careful, not just allow them to use us as a team. They will have their last touch domination, in terms of percentage, to be very high. We just have to be very careful, because statistics last year and this year shows, in fact, this season they are on the 16th. They are on the 16th. So that tells you, once they come to your area, they don't come too much. Once they come to your area, you must be very, very ready.
And you know, that's a good point you mentioned there, and it will then take me to when you talk about stats, headed goals and set pieces. And last season we just didn't do anything with goals in terms of set pieces or headers. But this season, I think we're second on headed goals. You know, and I think you guys are, sorry.
To
you guys, of course. I wasn't going to mention that, but hey, now that you mentioned it, you know, now that tells us a number of things. It tells us that they're getting the deliveries in the right areas, and being effective when it comes to latching onto those opportunities. I mean, Chuma has a theory about our wing back. What tell us, Jim Chuma?
Well, it depends on how he wants to deploy his wing backs. Honestly, Arsenal are going to be playing 4-3. That one we already know before anything happened. But it's how Arteta plays that 4-3-3. Like Andy was saying, that matters. And with the wing backs, he plays the wing backs as strikers. That's the aim of Conte's football. Conte's football bypasses midfield. He gets his creativity from wing backs and the 2 10s that play behind the striker. So he doesn't care about midfield possession. If you remember at Chelsea, and he had Kante and he had Matic. Those are not 2 very skillful guys. Their job is just to get that ball and move it to the wing backs or move it to the 10s. And Arsenal's whole thing. So it's like what we've been saying today. I think it's kind of interesting. Tottenham are good in 2 boxes. We're good in our box and we're good in your box. The middle, we don't do anything at all. And that's where Arsenal are actually great. Arsenal are great at taking possession but like Andy said, what's the point of having Mourinho? I think was famous in quoting that. What's the use of having possession if you lose? You can have 80% possession, but if you lose the match, you've lost the match. You've lost 3 points. So with the wing backs, he's going to try and get them as close to the strikers as possible. And if Arsenal, I like what Andy said earlier about Tierney and Zinchenko. Zinchenko is a very attacking guy. He's a midfielder that plays fullback or wing back or whatever Arteta deploys him. But Tierney was a defender and he's Scottish. So those guys, they defend first, attack second, and he's an engine. So if it depends on the personnel. Depends on the personnel. Wing backs can work against Arsenal, but Arsenal, and now he's got Ben White playing fullback, and that's his pure defender as well. So Arsenal have it. Yeah, I think they have it good coming into this game. To be honest with
you. Yeah, I mean it's a good time for us to do a few things. I mean, I know we said we're going to do so much in this little session of us. Now, we know it's going to be an epic match. We know that we've got so many areas in the field where there will be battles. You know, there will be battles in midfield. Of course, okay, fine. And then of course there will be battles.
Before we get into that, can I say something?
Of course you can.
Okay. Conte is a very old fox. There are two things that will make Arsenal vulnerable. I don't know whether you want to exploit that, not necessarily by the game, by being match wise. Jesus is on 4 yellow cards. One more yellow card for him to be off. So he's going to play with a lot of caution. Then the other thing is I want to see, Song has not played, Song didn't really play that. He came in and scored 3 goals. I know he will want to give him the freedom to express himself. And if you look, Ben has been, if we play Ben White has been carrying injury for quite some time. And I think he want to run in ragged by using Song in the first half. So those mind games will be there. Those mind games is going to be there. I pity Kane because Kane is going to have it very tough with Saliba and Gabriel. Him and Gabriel have been having real battles in the last 2 seasons. But bringing Saliba is going to be, so they are going to come, I think they are going to come strongly on Ben White, and they are going to do a lot of dirty things. Most probably Romero or Whitberg will do a lot of dirty things around Gabriel. Gabriel wouldn't really express himself the way he would express himself with any other match when he had less than 4 yellow cards. So that's one area. And I know Conte is an old fox. Certain things outside the play of the game you want to bring into play.
Interesting perspective on that. I love how you've broken it down, and of course you say that he's going to struggle against. I don't agree that he's struggling against Gabriel and Saliba, but hey, it remains to be seen. I know that for Kane to be top striker,
last year they were bringing themselves down. If you remember, go and watch the game. Go and do a rewatch. You will see them.
Right.
Oh, so the third goal came from Kane spinning, but then Gabriel put him to tackle just as a leg shot. Son scored on the rebound.
I'm not saying the first match. The 3-1. Go and rewatch.
Oh no, but the 3-1 doesn't count because, and I'll tell you why it doesn't count because we were under Nuno. Nuno had no clue. He has no clue. We're talking.
I'm saying the fight between.
Oh, okay, yeah, Son and Kane and
If you look the season before, the fight between Gabriel and Kane, interesting battles.
Yeah, no, fair enough.